What if that huge obstacle in your life wasn't an obstacle at all? What if it was actually the answer to a prayer you didn't even know was being made? Today, we're going to dive into an incredible story about a journey that goes completely, disastrously wrong, only to end up in exactly the right place. And it reveals a hidden power we can all learn to see. So let me set the scene for you. Our story starts with a man named Dr. Ishan Husseini. He's a brilliant physician at the absolute peak of his career. He's flying to an international conference to get a huge award for his life's work. Everything is going perfectly. And then, bam, a flash of lightning hits the plane. They have to make an emergency landing miles and miles from where he needs to be. And the next flight out, it's not for another 16 hours. He is furious. He's going to miss the entire award ceremony. But he is not giving up. He rents a car, determined to make it. But it's like the universe has something else in mind. The sky just opens up. A massive storm hits, so bad that the road ahead completely floods. It's impassable. He's stopped in his tracks, again, completely stranded. So now he's defeated, soaked to the bone, and his only shred of hope is this little old house he sees off the side of the road. He knocks on the door, just hoping maybe they have a phone. He has no idea, but he's about to walk right into the real reason for his entire journey. So the doctor thinks he's just looking for shelter, for a phone. But inside this humble little house, he's about to find out that all the chaos, the lightning, the flood, it wasn't random at all. It was actually guiding him. An elderly woman opens the door and lets him in. The house is simple. No electricity, no phone. And as he's drinking the tea she kindly offers him, he notices she is praying. Praying with this incredible intensity, right next to a small cradle. And inside is a baby, lying terrifyingly still. The doctor asks her who she's praying for, and her answer, well, it just stops his heart. She tells him her grandson, who's an orphan, has this incredibly rare disease. The local doctors couldn't do anything. They said there was only one specialist in the entire world who could save him, a doctor named Ishan Husseini. She's been praying for days that God would just make a path for them to reach him. In that one moment, Dr. Husseini just completely breaks down. He realizes everything. The delays, the grounded plane, the flooded road. They weren't obstacles, they were answers. It was all this elaborate divine plan to bring him, the one person on earth who could help, directly to this child's side. Wow, this story really shows us something profound, doesn't it? That prayer isn't always a simple transaction, like putting a coin in a machine and getting a yes or a no. Sometimes the answer is the journey. The answer is the series of events that seem totally random, but are actually guided by a much deeper wisdom. In many traditions, we're taught that there are three main responses to prayer. There's yes, and you get exactly what you ask for. There's no, because something even better is planned for you. And there's wait, for the absolute perfect time. But there's another way to look at this, a perspective that completely reframes why we pray in the first place. And this brings us to a really radical shift in thinking about prayer. What if its main purpose isn't to make a request, but to answer a call? Think about this for a second. It's a super simple question, but the logic here is crucial. Do you pray at noon to somehow pull the sun up to its highest point in the sky? No, of course not, right? The sun reaching its peak is the signal. It's the universe's way of saying, hey, it's time for the noon prayer. This one little shift in logic flips everything. We don't pray to make the sunset. The sunset is the event that tells us it's time for the evening prayer. So if we take that same wisdom and apply it, a drought isn't just a problem we pray to fix. The drought itself is the signal that the time for the prayer for rain has arrived. So you can start to think of life's big events not as problems that need solving, but as divine alarm clocks. They go off to tell you that a very specific window for connection has just opened. The event itself is the invitation. And this is where this idea becomes incredibly powerful, because if we start applying this to our own lives, then our greatest challenges suddenly stop feeling like random bad luck. They start looking like signals. They become invitations. So, let's make this personal. Let's say you are just drowning in financial debt. The stress is constant, you can barely breathe. What is that situation really? Well, according to this wisdom, the debt is the signal. It's the bell ringing, announcing that the designated time for a prayer of complete trust and reliance has officially arrived. Okay, or what about this? You go to the doctor, and you get a piece of news that's terrifying, a diagnosis that just flips your whole world upside down in a single instant. The fear is just overwhelming. That diagnosis, it's not just a medical fact. It is a profound signal, announcing that the time for a prayer of healing, of patience, and of acceptance is right now. What if the hardship is an emotional one, like being stuck in a relationship that brings you constant pain and confusion? You feel trapped with no idea how to move forward. That very struggle is the call to prayer. It's the signal telling you that it's time to turn upward, to ask for guidance, strength, and clarity. You see, the hardship isn't a wall. It's actually the doorway. So why would our struggles be divine to be invitations? Well, because hardships shatter the illusion that we're in control of everything. They force us to our knees. They make us confront our own limitations. And it's in that raw, vulnerable moment when we finally admit, I can't do this by myself, that we open up the space for the most sincere and powerful connection possible. So, we want to leave you with this question. Think about the biggest challenge you're facing right now, the one that feels like a dead end or maybe even a curse, and just ask yourself, what if this isn't an obstacle at all? What if it's actually the most important invitation you'll ever receive?